Before we get into today's show, we are narrowly losing the sub battle against those losers over at the Commanders Report, where we have gained a lot of ground over the first week of NFL free agency. We will have more videos for you, so don't miss out. Hit that sub button for free Cowboys updates right now. We will continue to focus on free agency in today's show. We'll talk about these four players in particular: Keenan Allen, Chidobe Awuzie, Stephon Gilmore, and Cooper Rush, all of whom maybe could be targets for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's begin with Keenan Allen. The Cowboys have ties to Allen. Specifically, his head coach in Chicago for part of the season last year was Matt Eberflus, who, of course, is now the Cowboys defensive coordinator. The Cowboys are still very much in the market for better, impactful wide receiver to help. And Allen is one of the better free agents left. These are not ranked. I just want to acknowledge a couple of these players. Guys like Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Elijah Moore, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett. In some order, I would argue are the top five wide receivers who are left available on the open market. They've got different strengths and weaknesses, but I do think if you're looking for someone to be the veteran wide receiver too, who can do some inside, outside stuff for you, I do think Allen is one of those available players. Now, he has never been this crazy, elite, dynamic, game-breaking playmaker. That's never really been his type of game. But he's always been inside-outside flex guy. That was the case in Chicago last year. That was the case in L.A. for the majority of his career. The drops have kind of been a slight red flag. The production very clearly dipped from 2023 to 2024. But if you're looking for a vet wide receiver too, so you don't feel like you absolutely have to take a wide receiver in round one or in round two, you can still take one if you want one, and I still want one. Allen does fit that mold. Certainly a lot better than Paris Campbell, who I know it's weird for us because the Cowboys don't normally do this. This kind of feels like a camp body, don't worry about Paris Campbell fixing your receiver two hole. You haven't done that. Allen could potentially do that, or at least handle some of that in parts and give you a higher floor at that spot. So would you sign Keenan Allen? Why for yes and for no, I will make this the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Why for yes and for no. When it comes to Keenan Allen to the Cowboys, I'm down. I certainly will not be looking a gift horse in the mouth. I've never understood that analogy, but whatever. I think this is a good addition if the Cowboys wanted to go down this path. I still think draft is a very viable, if not outright likely plan for the Cowboys when it comes to fixing the wide receiver 2 spot behind CeeDee Lamb. But Allen gives you actually really good insurance of the board fell the wrong way. The guys we want weren't there. Somebody else felt we wanted to actually take BPA. The old guy / hurt guy market at wide receiver is pretty quiet. You know, there are other players out there, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett. And because the market's quiet and the further along we go, oftentimes that means the less the contract cost actually is. And that might put the Cowboys in the actual proper range to get someone like Keenan Allen. He's going to be 33 years old before the season gets done and truly underway. But a one-year deal for, $5 to $10 million? Yeah, I think that raises the floor in a pretty solid way. With that said, I do still want more speed and or youth. I don't want it to be a extremely old, extremely slow wide receiver room, but I do have some interest in Keenan Allen, absolutely. Now, Chidobe Awuzie has been released by the Tennessee Titans, and given the Cowboys' holes right now at corner, which we'll discuss more in depth here with him and Stephon Gilmore, could this one make some sense? The Cowboys' one big actual splash money-wise was Dante Fowler, who was a former Cowboy. Awuzie, when he plays, is still a pretty good corner. The problem is for Awuzie, he doesn't play very much. That's kind of been the core issue out of Awuzie the past couple of years with both the Bengals and the Tennessee Titans. He also has not had, I think, the best stuff the previous 2 years. I thought his best year was probably that 2021 campaign with Cincinnati when he actually had some interceptions, had more pass breakups. But the level of play has declined a little bit, not enough, I think, to completely ignore him. It's a question of, do you want an outside-only corner, and do you trust the medical stuff with Awuzie? Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It is available in more than 30 states, including California, Georgia, Florida, and, of course, Texas. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. Football season long PrizePicks options are already available. I like the less than that one of the guys at Chat Sports here cooked up. Jared Goff, less than passing yards. Travis Kelce, less than receiving yards. Jaden Daniels, it's a high rushing yard figure. Less than there for a team that probably doesn't want him to run quite as much. Go download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Stephon Gilmore is also still a free agent. Juanyeh Thomas tweeting at him with the Forrest Gump waving hello gif, which I certainly interpret as interest from Thomas in a potential reunion, which I also kind of don't hate if you're looking for a better veteran outside cornerback option. So 2 names, then we'll go more in depth on Gilmore here that we discussed that corner. SG for Stephon Gilmore, CA for Chidobe Awuzie. Who would you rather sign? Let me know in the comments of today's show. Now, it took a while for Gilmore to find a free agency landing spot last offseason, and I would not be surprised if that happens again this year. And that's not a slight against Stephon Gilmore and what I think he can still offer a team. I thought he was pretty solid for Minnesota. He turns 35 in September. That's what that's a comment on. And that is an incredibly old age for a corner. You don't normally find corners hanging around the NFL that long. It's a testament to how good and how long and how football savvy Stephon Gilmore is. And the Cowboys, look, I think there's still question marks in this cornerback room. Trayvon Diggs is probably not going to be healthy for week 1. At least at minimum, it's a question mark there. So that makes Deron Bland your true corner 1. Israel Mukuamu is back. I'm glad they brought him back. I still don't. A nickel corner room of Izzy and Kaman Hall scares me. Now Deron Bland can kick inside. That makes that perfect as a viable option there. And then it's, recent early round picks. Kaiir Elam, who they traded for this offseason. Andrew Booth, who wasn't that great. Kalen Carson struggled last year. I think you have one true starting healthy caliber corner. Josh Butler flashed a bit last year, but he's going to miss time as well. I think Izzy's been an underrated player, but I need another actual starting corner. And Gilmore, and now, of course, Chidobe Awuzie stand out as options. Kendall Fuller's done some inside-outside stuff. Rasul Douglas is a veteran outside corner. Mike Hilton is a nickel who I think is – the Bengals pulled him off in pass coverage situations last year, which is a massive red flag for me. But he can blitz a little bit and would give you a veteran option there. Asante Samuel, by the way. Asante Samuel Jr. I would love him. Cowboys have arm length issues there. That's why they didn't draft him coming out of Florida State. Look at with Arizona. But he's a buy low candidate. I would be all for that one. I'd love to find someone in that kind of can play outside, can play inside role. That way I've got some added depth at both of those and not just Bland/Izzy and Kaman Hall, who wasn't really a defensive player for the Cowboys last season. So name a free agent you would like to sign. I'm sure many of you want Asante Samuel Jr. I'd be down, even though he is coming off a bit of a really 2 down years in L.A. He also was mostly an outside corner, but he has the traits to play on the inside. So name a free agent you want to sign. Cowboys have plenty of cap space and roster spots still available. Finally, one internal free agent, and maybe the one that if one ends up re-signing, if any more end up re-signing, I should say, is the most likely. That is Cooper Rush. The backup quarterback market slowly begins to filter out, and Cooper Rush has not yet found a new team, and the longer that continues, the more likely I think it is he ends up back in Dallas, but of course it could change all in an instant. Rush did his job as the backup QB. He is a physically limited player who doesn't offer the same long-term, short-term upside as even someone like a Jameis Winston, but it's also cheaper in the end. Rush, I don't think will command much money. We've seen the backup quarterback market kind of slot in at maybe $4 million. I think that's doable for Rush. And I don't think there's a ton of interest because there wasn't a lot of interest at any point in his NFL career, truly outside of Dallas, just some minor stuff there. Will Grier is the only other quarterback right now on the roster behind Dak Prescott. It's Trey Lance, who I doubt returns, and then Cooper Rush. And there's 9. I'll mention Zach Martin, who the Cowboys, from a contract processing and I don't know what to call it, transactional purposes, actually released Zach Martin, but it doesn't. He retired, so it doesn't really matter. It's just timing of stuff. But it's Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, Brandon Cooks, Linval Joseph, Carlos Watkins, Carl Lawson, Eric Kendricks, Nick Vigil, Amani Oruwariye. Maybe one of those guys that are coming back. I think the most likely, though, and if any, TBD still on Rush, ends up being Rush. Make no mistake, though, the Cowboys would like to get younger at the quarterback spot as well. They got plenty of 5th and 6th round picks now. They'll keep an eye out in those rounds for a quarterback option.